things real estate, money matters. All things real estate, money matters.
Hey, what's up? This is Cassandra Turner with Fort Knox Property Management. Welcome back to our channel where we talk all things real estate and money matters. This is video 2 of our mini series for real estate investing one-on-one for beginners. Now, if you missed our first video, click the link above and go back to review it. In our first video, we shared in-depth information on the long-term rental strategy. And in this video, we'll discuss short-term rentals and Airbnb investing strategies. Let's do a bit of a review on the buy and hold strategy. Now, this was covered in our first video. However, I want to make sure that our new viewers understand what the buy and hold strategy is. This is a type of strategy where an investor purchases rental property to get monthly income from. You hold it for 5 years or more, and at a time that's right for you, you finance or sell it. Let's go over some information as to what short-term rentals are. Now, short-term rentals are also considered to be corporate executive rentals. They are much more flexible than long-term rental. They have a higher turnover because of the shorter term than your typical long-term rental. They can be furnished or unfurnished. Mostly, I think there's probably a greater benefit for short-term rentals that are furnished. And usually, the short-term rentals are less than 12 months. A lot of times, they could be 6 months, 3 months, but definitely less than 12. Now, let's talk about the Airbnb rental. The Airbnb rental is for an investor who wants to rent out your property. You want to rent out space inside your property to people who are looking to travelers, vacationers. Uh, Always Airbnb rentals will be furnished, and usually the rental term for an Airbnb could be less than 3 months. It could be a month, it could be a few weeks, just depends on the vacationer. And also consider this, there's a higher rental income in a shorter period of time than your typical long or short term rental. People are turning over faster with the Airbnb um, choices. Let's talk about some benefits. Now, as an investor, consider this as a benefit. You can look at this property as a second home. You can look at this property to maybe take a few weeks or a couple of months for your own personal use, right? Um, Another benefit is that you can actually claim tax deduction, multiple deductions on your property as a short term rental. You can write off fees like maintenance fees. You can write off cleaning fees. You can write off property management service fees. Okay. Um, if your property is fully furnished and very comfortable and livable, well, you can command a higher rent and security deposit. So you can definitely create a generous cash flow off a short term rental. Um, and always remember that the rental property or the short term rental definitely has a higher income residual than your typical 12-month or long term rental. Another great benefit to looking at a short term rental is how it's used. Let's say for corporate executives who are new in town, they're moving into the town, and before they settle on a permanent home, they use a short term rental to get acclimated to the city. You can also think about the home buyer that's building a new construction. Home's not going to be ready for several months, and they need to use a short term rental until the new home is ready while they wait on their new home to be built. Now, let's go over benefits for an Airbnb. The benefits between the Airbnb and the short term rental are about the same in terms of generating a higher income in a shorter amount of time. The wonderful thing about an Airbnb is that it's like a hotel, but it has a more home like appeal to it than a hotel. Definitely lower overhead costs than a hotel. Um, with a Airbnb, you can deduct business expenses such as like a short-term rental, cleaning fees, property insurance. You can charge a higher security deposit for an Airbnb, and you also are entitled to up to $1 million in property coverage, right? Now, the other great thing about an Airbnb is if you're in a great area, a tourist area, there will be a high demand for your property. Let's talk about the risk for short term rentals now. Well, number one, you're not always in control of who's coming into the property. There is a platform for short term rentals, but they're just not manned enough to know who's coming in. So you just don't know who's coming in from time to time. Also, because of the higher turnover in use, there are greater maintenance and cleaning fees that are going to be conducted more often. 2 weeks cleaning and maintenance, 1 month cleaning and maintenance, 1 week cleaning and maintenance. So just think about the frequent maintenance and cleaning efforts that will be required. Also, you want to think about the local zoning and legislation. You have to be up to date on your state and city laws, right? A lot of cities are putting major restrictions on short-term rentals as well. And if it's furnished, then think about the greater risk for damages to the property, to the furniture, to the contents as well. And also think about the higher vacancy possibilities. You might experience weeks or even months where no one's renting and it's just sitting, there's no income generating. So there's loss of rent there. And on occasion, you might have to experience an eviction. It could happen. That's just the one of the investment risk. Now let's go over Airbnb risk. Number one, do your research because Airbnbs are not legal everywhere, and a lot of places have different zoning and regulations, restrictions for Airbnbs. Some cities and towns require you to have certain licenses and permits. They vary. If you don't follow the rules for having an Airbnb, there are heavy fines to pay. Also, just like a short term rental, keep in mind that your maintenance and cleaning will be more frequent because of the high turnover in travelers. As well as short term rentals, consider the issue of greater risk to damages to your property, your furnishing contents. Also, depending on the damage, well, it could shut your operations down for a period of time until those damages are corrected. And as always, think about the vacancy period. If there's a slow period, then no one's renting, there's no income coming in, you are responsible for paying um, directly. If a vacationer decides to cancel, there's a possibility that all or a portion of that deposit that they paid you goes back to them. And Airbnb requires service fees and taxes depending on the location. Now, how do you minimize your risk for short term rental or Airbnb? Location is key. Where do you want your property? You have to do your research. If you're looking into this type of property, you want to make sure that you are selecting a high tourist area, an area that you know that's going to generate travelers and vacationers and traffic on a frequent basis. You definitely want to make sure that wherever your property, you have chosen your property to be, then consider the zoning laws and regulation laws that are in existence for that particular town or city. And if you need to uh, hire a professional property management service on your behalf to handle the pains of the cleaning and maintenance that you just may not have time for. Now, the real question is the short term or Airbnb investment type for you? Not sure? Well, subscribe to our channel below for more information. You can get an alert when our next video post goes up, and we will be going in depth details on the benefits and risks of investing in new construction rentals. Take care. Until next time.
This concludes our session for today. If you're interested in investing in Georgia, please check out our website for all your real estate needs. Thanks for watching. All things real estate, money, money matters. All things real estate, money, money matters.